I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. Ne?
Sure.
So I know all the brands and I know how they perform. I know if you want technology, I know which brand to go for. If you want comfort, I know which brand to go for. And if you want reliability, I also know which one to go for. So you are in the right hands. By the way, before I was appointed a learning manager, I was a process engineer. And in many industries, a process engineering or a process engineer is someone who had done industrial engineering, or if it's a process engineer in a chemical industry, that would have to be someone that had done chemical engineering. So I've been a process engineer in the very same industry, mining industry. I've been a facility engineer, so I was designing facilities for maintenance and repairs. I've designed processes for maintenance and repairs.
Okay, this is it. We're back at it again. This is Career Drip, where we come and profile different careers and courses. And today we decided to actually take a detour, or to take a tour into the engineering world. And Malaban Sekhula mo, engineer, you know, but I keep building environment, Sekhula.
Look, engineering is a diverse world. So you start from building whatever it is that needs to be built until commissioning. So it is very relevant that it has to be a building environment.
So the term of built-in, because I never used to understand it, to say, what do you mean when you say built-in environment? And Ogaru, you just touched on it right now. What does the whole thing mean? You know, because you have built-in environment and engineering. Is engineering built-in? Is it engineering under the built-in? What's going on?
I know a lot of people make that mistake. They tend to think that the term build and engineering means building houses and stuff like that. But building houses is just part of an engineering. So in engineering, we design, we build, and we make things to, bring them to life. So that's what engineering is about: building anything we build into existence.
Wow, that's really. Then maybe it explains why also, because I used to lecture these engineering students, and you start to see the mindset, is kind of different from, ourselves. They view things from, because I was lecturing them mathematics, and maths is just maths, and these people are used to tangible things. They're used to, getting practical things and everything like that. So the question that they always used to ask is to say, why am I going to apply this? Like, application to them was very much important, more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, mathematics language is one of the languages that engineers understand most. Everything we do, it has to meet certain specifics. So maths is one say profession or a program, a course that you will really need to understand, because, like, take for an example, if you are to build a car, it has to meet it has to be of a certain length so that it can, be accommodated in your garage of a certain size and things like that. So that is maths. And take it even more further, in the build or construction environment, there's no way that you can understand the drawings if you don't know how to read maths. It's just simple like that. So math is a very critical course in an engineering environment. Everything we do, it's numbers.
Yeah, and as a mathematician, I'm very excited, to.
Look, you are not doing a bad job, and you're in the right field, because learning and is is one space that a lot of people do not understand how important that is.
Indeed.
Without learning and development space, we've got nothing.
Indeed, at least what I'm doing or what we're doing, it's getting appreciated somewhere by the engineers, at least,
Yeah.
So I have here with me Michael Sekhula, a man from Amalepo, a learning manager. I see that you have more to do with mining and construction technology optimization, such very bombastic words, What do you do? Like, your title is so long,
Look, my title is very confusing. I'm the only one in the company, if not in the entire industry, with a title that has a name and surname. Yeah, technology optimization. So, and yeah, so basically what I do is the industry I'm working in is the earth moving equipment industry. So what we do is we sell the earth moving equipment. So I know that you know them as just Caterpillar. Most of you, if you ask someone of what they understand about the earth moving equipment, the only famous term that comes out of their mind is the Caterpillar, because they used to see them working maybe along the road somewhere in the construction environment. So the business operates in many spheres. There's forestry, there's marine, there's power, there's construction, and there is also mining. So our biggest, our biggest contribution is actually in the mining. And for an example, in South Africa, the mining industry produces roughly around 2/3 of our GDP. So there's no way that you cannot see any of our brand there. But what I do in my role, as you have indicated, I look after learning and development of all our artisans and all our customers on how to utilize this technology, obviously to optimize the production in the mines and in any industry that uses our technology. So my learning process, or the learning process that I look after, is actually divided into, you can call it two processes. So I look after the talent pipeline. So what that means is I look after apprenticeship program. So we go and identify students from the colleges or even from the high schools where they have learned math and science, and we adopt that pure talent, bring it into our processes, teach them how to look after these Caterpillar brands and how to maintain them. In fact, we teach them in as far as how to build them from scratch. We have a construction department. So when you have gone through that process, you will then later write your trade test, and then you are qualified diesel mechanic that can look after Caterpillar machine, any Caterpillar machine you can fix. And also under my portfolio, I train customers. Remember, our machine talks. So they collect data during production, and through Wi-Fi, they send that data to someone sitting in the office, and we call those MindStar users, end users. So your people like your production supervisors in the mine, they are able to communicate through technology. They are able to communicate with the operators in the machine. So same thing applies. In reverse, the operators can communicate to the production supervisor or even their general manager in the office through that technology. So I train our customers to effectively utilize that technology to optimize production and plan their operations, their mining process, and optimally utilize the technology. So that's what I do in short.
So hence the word optimization in your title.
It goes even further than that, because optimization is more about how do you improve processes, operating processes in any business. How do you improve the operating processes? So, which means there's a recognition of the fact that there is a process that exists, but maybe it's not producing as per plan or as per the targets. So you need to optimally have ideas to identify the waste in that value chain and come up with plans to reduce that waste. So optimization in this regard means to say there is a mining process, and unfortunately that mining process is not efficient enough to can produce the performance, high performance as required. So what I do then, I will go and investigate the challenges that obviously influence every stakeholder in that process. And after identifying those, you will then have to help, eliminating them so that the mines are effective in terms of producing the minerals. Without minerals in Africa, there's nothing to eat. So we have to make sure that a process of getting those minerals out of the ground and having to make sure that they are delivered to a customer within a specified time. And by the way, a mineral of high quality. So it has to be effective. The value chain needs to be effective. And that's just my job. And you know what? I love my job. I love my job, honestly speaking, because like I'm saying, in Africa we live by minds. In fact, if it was my call, everybody should have a fair chance, just a fair opportunity to just work in the mines.
So you deal with talent, right? And people who deal with talent, they always have a lot to say, in terms of because I mean they're involved in training people and they already know. It's like a coach. They just see you when you get into this one is a footballer, this one, just by laying a look and be like, this one.
Yeah.
So I'm very much interested to find out from you, like, what are the trends are you seeing in your training programs? I mean, with working with people like that, and then also I can imagine someone also out there being like, I also want to be an artisan. Where do I start? What should I do? How do I actually get to that point whereby I'm recruitable in being an artisan and also being in the building environment and all of those type of things?
Yeah, so the engineering industry, like in South Africa, has been one industry that has been so consistent in terms of producing programs of quality, because you would understand that the engineering field is a very dangerous field in a sense that safety is a priority, and obviously production of quality goods is also a priority, because many of our customers, like the customers that we serve in an engineering environment, prefer quality more than anything else. That's why you see many of our engineering graduates or any graduates, university graduates, once they get employed, when they are to buy a car, they are not looking for any brand. They look for quality. So,
really?
Quality in the industry, in the engineering industry, is a priority. Safety in the industry is a priority. So we invest a lot of efforts in our programs to ensure that if you go through our systems, if you go through our training programs, once you are done with the program, you have to be someone that is trusted to produce a quality product and in a safe manner. So that is the investment that we have made in our training programs. And I can tell you right now that you take the mining industry as an example. When they take you to a university to learn mining engineering, as an example, after graduating from that mining degree, after you have had your degree, once you go and join them, they still take you further into developing you to become a globally recognized engineer by taking you through the government certificate of competency. So they try to make sure that once they deploy you in their processes, you should be really refined as a qualified engineer. They make no mistake when it comes to that. So that is what the engineering industry has been good at, just making sure that whoever that works in that space is certified to do so and understand the criticality of safety. More importantly, the quality production that is required out of the industry. Yeah.
The thing that you said there about engineers buying quality or going for quality, I think after this you must give me a tutorial, especially on car brands which have a dash of quality, you know?
I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. Ne?
Sure.
So I know all the brands and I know how they perform. I know if you want technology, I know which brand to go for. If you want comfort, I know which brand to go for. And if you want reliability, I also know which one to go for. So you are in the right hands.
And which brand is your favorite?
Let me be honest with you, ne? My favorite brand, I'm just being honest.
Sure.
My favorite brand is what my account allows allows me to buy. So I go for comfort and safety than anything else. Yeah, but
okay.
Still well within the budget.
Yeah, no. I agree with you. I wanted to get that brand's name, but I don't want to get into trouble. I can see that. That is going to get into trouble. We don't want the next thing to be like, hey, Kanti, yourself, you're saying this about us, but anyway. No, that's very good. And you're a mechanical engineer by profession. You are delving into the mining sector, and also you are so much into technology. Like, how do I put this? Like, you sort of have everything of all the worlds. You have an eye on the mechanical engineering world, you have an eye on the mining engineering world and everything like that. And I'm sure there are students who maybe they are doing mechanical or mining and they want to get into this kind of industry and everything like that. Where you're staying or where you're sitting at, how do you view the industry as it is right now? And with someone who wants to get into the industry, what can you say to them?
So the mining industry accommodates like many professionals. So it's a value chain on its own, and a lot of professionals have a place in the mining industry. You get to find people like safety reps there. You find your nurses. You find your paramedics. You find your mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, mining engineers, industrial engineers. You also do find people like your accountants, financial managers. So it's an industry that is inclusive to accommodate all these professionals. But talking from the mechanical engineering perspective, I think for me, I've just been one person that has been fascinated in knowing a lot of things. Like I can tell you right now that even my subject selection at the university, I have selected subjects that which many of the people did not select. Like I did almost all of them. I did mechanical engineering design. I did some courses in electrical engineering up until the electro technology 3, of which many of the engineers do not even do that, except if you are an electrical engineer. I've done manufacturing, and only people who did like things like industrial, they stick too much in manufacturing. But I did that as a mechanical engineer. I did project management, yeah. So I've done almost all of these courses, combined them into one, and producing just a mechanical engineer who can fit everywhere. By the way, before I was appointed a learning manager, I was a process engineer. And in many industries, a process engineering or a process engineer is someone who had done industrial engineering, or if it's a process engineer in a chemical industry, that would have to be someone that had done chemical engineering. So I've been a process engineer in the very same industry, mining industry. I've been a facility engineer. So I was designing facilities for maintenance and repairs. I've designed processes for maintenance and repairs. And that is the benefit of having done all these courses, getting them together, and they are working for me. So it's a very diverse environment that I don't think is limited for one to be deployed in any environment. I can even become a financial manager.
Yeah. I see the strategy that you're pulling there. You know, in investing or in financial investing, when we talk about, you know, shares and, you know, investment, different investment vehicles and stuff, you know, there is a word that is always spoken about, and that is diversification. And they always say, you don't put all your eggs in one basket, you must diversify, so that if something happens and maybe a certain investment portfolio is not doing well, you know that, okay, the other one is actually doing well, and everything like that. And I think is somehow the strategy that you have employed in this engineering, in your engineering career, to say, let me diversify. Because I also saw from your qualifications that, like you have done, you know, other courses which, you know, project management, like you just said right now, like, you know, diversifying. And in fact, when you are saying this, I'm reminded about, I remember attending a talk by your VC, Chief Zimarwala, in one of these seminars, and he was talking about, because I think he had a stint in doing his degree abroad, and he was talking about how these universities abroad, how they even package, you know, the entire course, because he said that at some point he had to do economics, you know, but it's within the engineering degree. At some point you had to do like psychology and all of those type of things. But then the point was, you know, you want to be versatile, you know, you want to be an engineer that can still delve into other things. And I think once you have that versatility, because I was telling someone to say, you can know how to code, right? But to create Facebook, you also need to understand how people socialize, meaning that you need a bit of sociology there. You need also a bit of psychology and all of those type of things.
So there is perception that it's a global perception that engineers are not really good managers. Managers to look after people, they can't even look after systems, they can't look after finances, and they can't look after projects and stuff like that. So the perception is that because they are perceived as technical people, what they know is to get components together and you know, construct things, and after they just commission for those things to work, but they really cannot look after people. And I'm one person that I've always wanted to challenge that, because I don't think that's how engineers operate. There's no way that you can build a system and from scratch and never know how to look after that system or know how the end users of that system should be behaving around utilizing that system or even managing it. So that is just a perception that has been existing in the global space. But I can tell you right now that looking from my profile, obviously, and some of the learning and development journeys that I've been through, the intention there is to make sure that I am qualified and competent to obviously manage systems, manage people, manage processes. And I can tell you right now that not I mean, many of the people that had gone through things like business management courses and system management, they cannot manage those effectively way than I do. As an engineer, that has been perceived not good in terms of managing those. So the stigma and the perception, I can confidently right now say they are just myths.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because I have had the privilege to engage with a lot of engineers that some are even in business, like, doing business, and even the approach and how they approach the products, that meticulation, that quality that you spoke about, like these guys, you can just see that they are engineers at heart, and I think it's something beautiful to watch. So you're at Ramalepo, probably doing grade 12. Then you just decide, now I'm going to do mechanical engineering at UJ.
There's a lot of things that motivated me to become an engineer, even though mechanical engineer was not my first choice. Actually, I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh.
So because there's a lot of things that influenced my thinking. I am one of the people that went through the Bandu education system. So during those days, yeah.
Are you that old?
Yeah, Mebra. I completed my matric in 2003. So yeah. So what had happened is, during those days, like apartheid government, what they had done, when they were to build schools, especially in black communities, what they would do is they would go into an area. Let's say maybe that area is managed by a certain chief. So our chiefs, they look after an area that has multiple villages. And if you have, as a chief, you have 10 villages in there. So the apartheid government, what they will do is they will look at your villages geologically, how they've been structured, and they put a school right in the middle of those villages. Whether the center of that is in the mountains or in the rivers, or they did not really care. So many of the black people had to walk for long distances going to schools. And unfortunately, I was a victim to that. I used to walk about 8 kilometers to my high school. And within that 8 kilometers, I had to climb a mountain, honestly speaking. So I will climb the mountain going to school, 8 kilometers to the school, 8 kilometers back to home, and obviously expected to still, manage to do my homeworks and things like that. And over and above that, we did not even have a clinic or hospital for 16 kilometers every day, just so that I do not succeed at the end of the day. I have to make it work. And yeah, I kept that in my mind until I completed my matric in 2003. Unfortunately, I did not even have funds after my matric to apply for spaces at universities. I remember, I think in 2004, Wits University was charging about 100 Rand application fee. and TUTs, they were charging roughly around 80 and 60 rands. So I skipped school because I did not have money to apply for a space at any university. My father is a garden boy. Now we calling them garden specialists. My mother was never employed because he's a disabled person. So one leg is not working properly. So we were living by, I think at that time my father was earning roughly around 1,200, and he was living in Hillbrow, working at one of the schools as a garden boy. Out of that 1,200, he has to pay for the rent, he must buy food, and he must also send us some money at home. So when I completed my matric, I had no money to apply for space anyway. So I had to work to go and find job. Fortunately, I found something in one of the aircon industries, and I worked for 3 years there, and I have managed within the 3 years managed to raise funds to apply for the spaces, cover my fees for the first year, and after then I resigned. I resigned in 2008 so that I can start my university in 2009. And from there, everything has just opened up through God's grace. I am now a learning manager in one of the number one earth moving equipment industries in South Africa.
That's a very inspiring story. And